so bright, it's hard to breathe.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again here in the Anti-Stall Racing Indycar Racing Series. This is round 4 from Belle, Detroit, Michigan. Here tonight, I am joined by my co-host, my main man, Biggles. And Biggles, I missed last week, so I didn't see the Italian takeover at Long Beach. But looking at the track here tonight, it looks like it's going to be a wide open race here.
It should be. It should be another very tight and Long Beach was mad. I should expect for a street circuit. I know you really wanted to be that Long Beach, but of course, birthdays get to come first. This one in itself is another tricky, very very bumpy street circuit. Belle Isle is. So sorry, the title's now been changed there. Thank you for our producer because it wasn't Indianapolis and it's not round 1, but the title, of course, there is correct for the YouTube channel. Our producer, of course, is Mr. Gerald. But mate, I mean, it's a tricky track circuit. There's lots of overtaking. I have seen a lot of few disagreements with the wall under the practice session earlier.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that track formation before we came on air here tonight. Turn 1 and 2, of course, that's the IndyCar racing that we're all used to. But because looking at that track formation, they're going to run all the way down to corner number 3, 90-degree angle there, hit 4, a little bit of an angle there, go down into 5, race it down into 6. That's our last 90-degree angles on the racetrack, and then it's just wide open from 6 to 7. A little bit of a chicane action around 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 into 12, 13, then it's wide open to that start-finish line. So it's going to be quite a race here tonight.
It'll be interesting. Good to see a really good, solid grid as well this week that we have.
Indeed. And
I think we're looking at about, wish it would tell me how many drivers there are on there, but it's not putting in position there, of course, because it's a practice session. 15, there we go at the moment. And it's an open qualifying session at the moment that we're going to have for 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, of a qualifying. Quite a long qualifying session, so plenty of time for everybody to try to find a gap out there on the track, let's hope. And of course, I want to see my Aussie man do it. Mr. Liam Curry's got a fan club out there too, from Mr. Number One Racer. Yeah, you were first, mate. I just trying to mess with you. And of course, Benito is also that we're watching at the moment, looking pretty good. Now, have we got the championship standings up we can pull up there to show everybody? Hello. All right. Joe could probably tell us the championship standings then, if you like, mate. Can go through what's happening currently at the moment through the series.
Yeah, and as we're waiting for Gerard to get that up on the screen there, Biggles, the one thing that I've noticed, and we talked about it off air, is how Håkon has really not picked up where he left off winning that first race of the season. He's kind of struggled down the gate here a little bit, not really putting up the results that we're used to seeing out of him. Right now, he's 4th in the table right now with 3 guys ahead of him that have really been consistent throughout. And you just spoke about Benoit right there is now leading the point standings right now from those finishes that he's been racking up.
Yeah, it is. He's just not having the luck to this after that first race win. But this could be his day back in this particular road course again. Andy Tapman's looking to be probably the top on the timesheet coming up soon. And you've got to obviously keep an eye out for Andy Tapman because Andy's been in the wars a few times, but he's got the pace. All the drivers here do have the pace, of course, to get something done. We're having a look at, where's the other Kevin as well? Kevin Stam. Yeah, there he is right there. Kevin Stamp's been really improving this season a lot. Loving the IndyCars. So let's throw up the standing. Should be up on screen and now for everybody to go through. I can't see it yet because I'm a little delayed. Yep, Aiden. 113.85. Of course, the local American driver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, back home.
100%.
Absolutely. He's been having some pace too as well. Just had to run out a little bit of luck last week. Definitely getting out. Now we have a newcomer on the grid as well, which is Mark, another one from the United States. Mark Katsky. G'day, Mark, out there. Many thanks to you, my friend, for driving to a Best Buy and getting the only last graphics card that was remaining back in the time when graphics cards were hard to get last. I think it was last year, if I can't remember. And yeah, he got that for me and sent it to Panama. So much appreciated. Look at a bit of an accident there between a couple of the drivers already, just in practice session. If you wouldn't mind putting up the track map for us there too, Mr. Director, we can kind of see how busy it's going to get on the track. As you can see how busy it is on the track right now. Going to be a matter of finding the gap for your fast qualifying laps.
I think so here. You know, with these qualifying laps, you get to really feel out the track. You get to find out what positions that you're going to really maintain throughout this racetrack. As mentioned, it's a pretty wide open track, so you can let these Indy cars really fly. You can let those wings fly, if you will, there on the back and the front of these race cars. You see right there, that's a very long stretch they're going to dig down into the chicane corners right here. A little bit of a maneuvering around these corners, so you just got off track a little bit there is going to cost them some speed. But really on a track like this, Biggles, I really feel like the drivers can let these things loose, can really get on the gas. You're going to see a lot of top speeds out of these race cars. And down in the corners, we're going to a little bit of the give and take. But I really feel like if you can get that thing out front and in that clean air, you can really pace yourself around this racetrack.
And the 52 car just paced himself to the top of the timesheet of Kevin Barrow. And the old Kev start. Kevin Barrow, you might have heard his voice a few times as a commentator here at Any Store Racing as well. And he likes the GT cars. It's good to see him in the Indy cars.
You see right here. And Biggles, I wanted to ask you, as we're watching this qualifying session take place right now, still only about 5 minutes into it, what are some of the things that I may have missed last week at Long Beach and some of the things that we should look out for here in this round?
You're going to do that to me. You're best to ask Gerald that, mate, because my memory lately, because I cast so much racing in so many different games and leagues and stuff like that I honestly really can't. It'll come back to me during the races we talk about, but I can't remember at the moment. Gerald, I don't remember the safety car. Oh yes, that's right. Can anybody hear you, or are you just talking to us? Yeah, okay. That's right. Last week, yes, of course, I completely forgot it. In obviously the very tight hairpin corner, the last corner, I think it is, before you get down the main straight, there's another accident occurring as Mateo goes boom into the wall there. And that's another collision. Once again, do they realize that it's not racing just yet? It's qualifying. But so, yeah, this is what happened last week, Will. Safety car crashed to the wall.
What? And
caused a couple of cars to... chain reaction to crash into each other behind the safety car.
No.
So we needed the pace car. We needed a pace car for the pace car. Pace car had to go back in for some repairs, yeah, and hit the wall again, I think, a second time around, but that one didn't cause issues with some of the other drivers. But the pit stops were crucial, that's right. This is going to start coming back to me, but eventually.
It all coming back to you as the race goes on. But it must have been those sights and views there at Long Beach. You can get really distracted by that big fountain right in the middle of the racetrack. So I could see why that could happen there.
Well, and plus early this week, I was casting Thibaut, the goalkeeper for Real Madrid Racing.
Ah, there you go.
So yeah, I'm a little confused. That was for Formula One, but yeah. So he's in another racing league, and so I was like seeing if he can get that private jet and send it over here in Panama and pick me up, and we'll go out for a couple of beers. He's getting ready to go to the World Cup now anyway, and he's actually flying his racing rig down to where he's staying in Qatar, because I'll be there for about a month. I'll be there for about a month or so, if not longer. So yeah, he wants to race, so he's got to fly his rig down. Man, he earns about £30 million a year. It's not a problem.
Yeah. That's nothing,
Kevin's on a flyer. Both Kevins are on flyers at the moment, so looks like a Kevin in your name gives you a little bit more pace around here.
Exactly. Actually, they got a game on Tuesday there, Biggles, Real.
I didn't even know he was a goalkeeper for Real Madrid, mate. Until somebody told me. I don't really follow it, but obviously he's the Belgium goalkeeper for his national team. That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
to be representing. 6'4", big tall bloke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Courtois? You talking about Courtois?
Yeah, Courtois.
Oh, see, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I remember him from the Chelsea days.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. So there's Danilo. Both the Italians now are looking like they're doing pretty good in qualifying. Now we saw that, but the Old Dog Racing team are not too bad, and they work together, and they are very similar on pace. See if that's going to help him out. Kevin's still improving, actually. I think Kevin's going to improve on his time. He's probably going to crack the 112s right now.
Yeah, look at that bright purple on your screen.
Oh, look at the power slide coming out of that corner, but he's still putting the foot down. He's still going for it. You can't usually push the passes during qualifying. That cost him 48 thousandths of a second, I think, in that sector. Just that power slide. So you know he's got more pace there for sure.
Oh, yeah. And the way that he's hitting this track on qualifying, you know he's going to let that thing fly during a race session right here. But you see right there at the top of the grid right now, he's trying to improve that, Biggles. He's back out on the track.
Yeah, because I think he's he's feeling the confidence. He's feeling the track. He's feeling the flow. And you know, you got 9 minutes left to qualify, 10 minutes left to qualifying, let's say. But the track's busy. So I would be getting out there. You still got at least, I think we got about 4 drivers that still yet to set time. Stefan Hoffman's yet to set time. Mark's yet to set time. Mateo's yet to set a time. And Robin, I think Leon is the safety car driver. I'm not mistaken, Mr. Producer. Or is Leon driving? Not sure. Okay. Yeah, Leon is actually going to be driving. So yeah, they just haven't set a valid time. Of course, they've been in valid times, and that's actually where I was curious. Where are the places around here that you could get an invalidation? And can we go on board with somebody the second? Maybe
right.
I don't know, Aussie guy. I don't know. Okay, let's go and go to Kevin. Let's go. Yeah, let's see what Kevin's and go on board the car and see how it feels around here. So you can give us another lap guide, Will.
And you see right there, he's coming around those last little bit of chicanes, going to hit that little bit of a straight right here, going down into the corner. And you see Biggles, he's able to let that thing fly. You got a 90 degree right here, right into the corner, going to another 90 right here, and then it's just wide out down this stretch. Just a wide open stretch. You start to see that vision, almost like that focus going down to that last corner. You hit this 90 right here. That's a pure 90 degree right there. Then you go into another small corner, and then you kind of just wind yourself around these corners, and then you hit another long stretch. So if you can build enough of a lead here in this race, you can really check out from the rest of the field.
Look at that power down. That's the bumps as well. That's where you're going to see. But when the wheel slips, of course, on the bumps, it doesn't have the traction. That's the most important thing in a motor car, remember. The 4 points of contact to the track. Anything else is second to that. This is basically a US Singapore track, really. Because it's bumpy, it's dusty, and these corners take no prisoners. And you can see it. It's very, very similar to Singapore as well, in the way that, look at that, how you got to come out closer. They got some of these bends that are really tighten up. You've got your 90 degrees, of course. You have some of these sweeping high speeds. It is definitely the USA version of Singapore. Just put some lights on around the stage for your pit lane entrance. See who go around here to complete his lap. It won't be an improvement on what he had before, but it's just getting more and more of this practice in, I can say. There's the pit lane exit. So, and it's got bumps right there as well. Bump. Really a bit of a backbreaker. And thank you very much for that. That was a great lap. And it looks like Sylvia is also in there. It must be something with the virtual drivers, isn't that team there? Because the French team, because they've got the same the helmets there and the outfits, so they go all out. the French duo, of course.
You look good, you feel good, Biggles.
Yeah, that's true. That's right, because remember we had a translator for that interview that time, didn't we? Which is great. I mean, many of everything, all things here at 180 Store Racing. So one of the Italians who needed a translator. They were only second and third there for the Old Dog Racing team. We haven't spoken to them yet.
And that's one of the things I was going to ask you too, Biggles. Here, we're counting down the minutes left in the Q session here. What do you think's led to the Italians being so cohesive this season? We've seen them either 2-3, they haven't broken through just yet. Well, actually, we saw one breakthrough last week at Long Beach, but they've just been consistently running inside that podium. 2-3, we saw one finish in the 5th position. What do you think's led to such great teamwork this season?
Well, that's it. That key teamwork. That they can bounce off each other's information as well. So one driver, you basically got 2 for the price of 1. So you have each driver probably, letting to each both drivers saying, hey, maybe tweak this a little bit, and you're going to get a little bit more speed out of the corners or something like that, or a little bit more traction. And the other driver says, oh yeah, and then so they can definitely bounce those setups off each other. And I think that's probably definitely what's paying off. Of course, on track, their strategy has also been very, very good. And they very much, that's how you win a championship too, isn't it? You don't have to win races every single time. You have to consecutively just be putting in some good finishes. And I guess for the constructors, I'm not sure if we do have a constructors championship. We'll check that one with the producer. But if there is a constructors championship, then they'll be looking pretty strong on that. No constructors, just a glorification, I guess, of saying that you'll get it. So Kevin's been improving in some parts of the sectors. Let's have a look at Mark, if you don't mind, Mr. Director, because he's new to the league and he's actually relatively new to iRacing. So his license is actually in the D because he's so new to it, whereas everybody else has an A license. Of course, he's only a D license because he's new. He's quick in the Formula 1 game, so obviously that's a lot different than the iRacing. But he has the rig, he has the setup, he has the equipment and tools. He just needs the experience now. But so he's at least getting in there and giving it a shot. I mean, it's not going to be exactly on the pace as everybody else just yet, but practice makes perfect, isn't it? And league racing is, as you guys know, a whole different ball game than just doing practice sessions by yourself on the track for time trials. And at the moment, he's going to have to let Paulo Lopez go past. I think he's just going to be doing laps around having fun and not really getting in too many people's way today. And that's what it's all about.
It really is, Biggles, and I think this is the type of track that, we talk about getting in each other's way. Yeah. I think this is the type of track that where he can kind of learn the groove of these Indy cars, kind of learn how to whip them around without it being too technical. We don't have too many chicane corners. We don't have too many crazy, intricate moves or anything at this course. There's a bunch of straights here. So it's a good opportunity for him to kind of get that handle of the race car going on to the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult track to get out of the way, but once again, he's used to Formula 1. He's used to tracks like, Singapore and stuff like that, and Monte Carlo and stuff where you got to get out of people's way if they're a lot quicker than he is. Kevin Stam had a little bit of improvement, but not too much. Still sitting there in the P5 position. Paul Lopez is in P4, of course. We know that Portuguese driver has been pretty quick. You can see in the background people slapping the wall. I just saw somebody just behind Kevin Stam just have a little bit of a tank slapper. I wonder if we're going to pick a favorite corner, mate, that we should be sitting there and broadcasting from. Like, we've seen that before, haven't we, in some of the tracks in the past where you want to be sitting on that one specific corner where all the action is, where you can get a bit of brake dust or carbon fiber flying at you. And I can't believe see that dust on there at the moment of people really hitting the wall.
I think for me, Biggles, you're going to watch out for corner number 3. So that's going to come off of 1 and 2. That's going to be a long stretch down to a 90-degree angle into 3. Ooh, a lot of the drivers are going to have to
exciting.
Gonna have to shift down and brake hard down into 3, coming around 4 and 5. Of course, you can ride it around those corners, down 6, down the straight. Down into 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is where I think we're going to see a little bit of a dust up right there. Because, you're going to come off another long straight, and then you're going to have to get very technical on the wheel. You're going to have to whip around. It's not going to be wide corners. It's going to be very, very tight around those 4 corners right there. So I think that area and corner number 3 are the corners to watch out here tonight.
Absolutely. And look at the spread that we have. So we've got 10 drivers in the 13s. And then you're going to have this middle field pack that are in the 14s and 15s. And then you're going to have a few of the other drivers that are probably a little bit just off the pace there. But that's going to be interesting. That top 10 are very, very pretty even on that. So expect, anybody really, those pit stop strategies are going to be the key. What tires are going to be starting on, of course, are the key, because you're going to have the primaries and the alternatives. I keep forgetting what it is. It's an A. Look at the spin, see? And then you're going to have this, cars spinning. Now, we do know that the pace car could be deployed if, I believe it's 4 or more involved in an accident. If I can get that. 3 or more. Oh, we have an AI safety car, which doesn't get deployed as rather than a safety car driver. I guess has a safety car driver been fired since last week?
Relieved of his duties.
Look at Paulo Lopez having a spin now too, as everybody is getting to that point at the moment where they're just going to absolutely push everything, because we've only got about a minute and change to go of practice. So And I always say, if you are a real racing simulator, then if you do bin it during the qualifying session, then your car is damaged for the race. How's that? Because it'd be on a different day, but so it wouldn't really matter. And the filters picked up the lovely hot tub bots that are back in it again, enjoying anti-stall racing, and they've been deleted.
Yeah, they're excited about the action here tonight at Michigan as well, or Detroit. We'll call it it's the Grand Prix of Detroit. So we'll stick with that here tonight. Staying stateside here, Biggles. Next week we go back oval racing once again. We go back to Indy.
For the classic one itself. Yeah, so we'll have to see whether or not they're going to behave themselves this time, because we had, I don't know how many safety pace cars in that last oval race, the first oval race that we've had this season. That was...
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. That was quite a bit. Obviously, Indy's a lot more of a beast. A bit larger of a super speedway. But, yeah, and it'll be interesting, of course. So, first of all, they had to get through Belle Air here. And then Belle Isle, sorry, and then after they get through here, I was thinking the Bel Air, like Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh,
but
no.
They had to get through here first, and then after they survive this, then they can come to Indy. Oh, see, somebody's off in the background as well, coming out of the corner. Can't remember what that was. 15, I think, the car. Oh, 15th place. That's Julian, that you were just on board with before. From the Netherlands, congratulations on Max Verstappen winning. Yep. I mean, we saw front wing winning there from yeah, and like, yeah, congratulations, Max, you've won the World Championship. Let's get hypo. Yeah. Formula One celebration of somebody winning a World Championship. Qualifying is over now, and Kevin has done it. He's held it, and that's good to see Kevin. That's. I think he's going to be absolutely stoked, because it's going to be definitely his first pole position for the year, and probably one of his best results so far, at least just in qualifying. But looking strong here. Is it? Sorry, the Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. I'm getting him mixed up with the other Kevin on the server now. My bad. I'm really all confused. Yeah.
The interesting thing that I'm looking at right now, Biggles, as we're wrapping up this Q session right now, is that Benoit is going to separate those two Italians to start off this race here. So we'll see what kind of strategy that comes into play here on the start of this race. We're going to have a car in between those two. So if we know Benoit, he's going to not give up that position easily. So it's going to make it that the Italians, to get this race going here, it's going to put in some work for them.
Yeah, they're split, haven't it? So the Frenchman's going to be sitting inside the old dog sandwich, per se. And that's going to be very, very interesting. So they have the hand, of course. Paulo Lopez is going to end Kevin, two other big top guns, and actually, hey, there you go, Haken. Again, Haken are going to be handling. It's just these big names here are all going to be going for it too for now. Unfortunately, Liam, as you can see, didn't have the best of qualifying performance there for the Australian. Maybe he's too exhausted after his Bathurst weekend. And he's had to fly all the way over here to the States. And so, yeah, but it was interesting in the first couple of turns there. So Kevy's got to hold off the Italians and the Flying French to see what he can do, as the race will be going in a minute after we do a little bit of a warm-up session for 5 minutes. See the fountains, and you can see the not jam-packed stadium, but lots of people here. Beautiful day. No rain, of course, yet in iRacing. We will get it one day. Once we get it, everybody then isn't going to hate it. You watch. Because it's going to be so realistic. It's going to be just too hard to drive on, probably. What are your thoughts about that there, Will?
Yeah, just like the rain we saw in that Formula One race. Off air, they were Verstappen. Just, I guess they modified the rules once again here for the second straight year for him to win another world title or something.
Oh, he mean modified the rules.
Our wonderful producer said that the race length should have been different than what it was.
It should have been maybe a half points instead of a full. But either way, you know he's going to win the championship. There's another four or so races to go. I mean, he's either going to win it in this one or he's going to win it in Coda. Coda would have been a better way to do it, I think, because Coda he's going to put on a show, and they would have put on a massive show for his world title being handed, because it's the same thing with like Mexico and Coda, probably the two best podiums you get for actual entertainment, of course, for the true passion of fans, and then the Tifosi in Italy. But you've seen those Mexican podiums that go mad, and so does Coda. That would have been the place for. I'm sure if I was him, I would have lifted off and make sure you didn't win, and then waited to win in Coda, and then go on and win in style. But of course, he wouldn't be allowed to do that with the team. There's your qualifying results. If you'd like to go over them.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go over those qualifying results right now. And as mentioned, Kevin Burrell is going to start off on that pole position. Pole position, we'll use a little bit of a North American term here. I'm going to try to give him a go, Biggles, and see if I can get these names down as my first go at it. Denario Ranchiti is going to start off second right there. We talked about Benoit Favre is going to start off in the third position. Separating those two Italians, Denario Pezzazza. There we go. I'll try it there. Paulo Lopes, hey, that's an easy one right there. I can knock that one out. Right after that, he's going to roll off in the fifth position. Kevin Stom's going to roll off in sixth. Hakan Crespa is going to start off in seventh. Aiden Young, good run for him in that Q session. Going to roll off in the eighth position. Robin Dumel is going to roll off in ninth. Liam Kerr is going to roll off in the 10th position. Right next to him is going to be Leon Elowit. Right there in the 12th position is going to be Alex Richardson. 13th is going to be Silvio Lazar is going to roll off in 13th. Andy Tapman, who you just spoke about a little while ago, is going to roll off on 14th. Julian Altina is going to roll off in 15th. Alcaric Bols is going to roll off in 16th. Mateo, that's a surprising start for Mateo there at the bottom in 17th. And then, of course, I believe that's our safety car driver right there in 18th.
No. Still a driver.
Good. There we go.
Yep.
Stefan Holman is going to roll off in the 18th position. And then Mark Katsik right there in the 19th position.
Katsuki, I think. I never asked him how to pronounce his. I never asked him how to pronounce his.
This season.
Yeah, how to pronounce his surname properly, because people's names on Discord are usually different. So he's the one shark. So he's fish. Fish are not food, apparently. Fish are our friends, not food. There it is.
There we go. But that is our starting grid for Belle Isle race number 4 here in Indycar.
Ooh, as you're watching, look at that warm up there, just hucking and slamming that into the wall there. I expect there's going to be lots of that happening today. And whether or not the AI is going to decide is that noisy tow truck's getting ready to come pick up some of the cars past the casting booth. I'm just wondering if the AI, how the AI is going to determine these is calling out this pace car with the amount of... Okay, so we still have our marshals, our stewards are going to be calling whether or not they deploy the artificially robot-driven car. It's a Tesla 2.0 pace car, I believe it is, that we'll be using. And also, I'm feeling for the stewards tonight. By the way, Mr. Race Director, who is our stewards for tonight? Because is it George Hill, I guess, maybe? George, if stewards can come in and give us the chat during a safety car, actually, probably, if they have a chance to give us a chat, sometimes they pop in. If they don't, then obviously I understand why. George Goulet, you say? George and Ule. Okay, will be our stewards tonight. Maybe very busy as well, stewards, so good on them. Thank you very much for committing your time and having to go through 10,000 replays and angles of everything. Yep, rolling start, of course. As they're going to grid up, there is the pace car, safety car. Well, it's called the pace car in Indy. Why does it say safety car on it? What is that, Will? Do you know?
I don't know why it says safety car here. A little bit of a European flair to tonight's race. Yeah. Should be a pace car on there, but definitely a good-looking safety car, if you will, at the top of that grid. We've had some good-looking safety cars this season.
Would you take that safety car, or would you take the safety car, the other two safety cars in Formula One? The Aston Martin safety car, or the Mercedes safety car, or would you take this safety car?
Oh, I'm a Mercedes all day. I drive a Mercedes as my daily driver, so I'd have to stick with Mercedes for sure.
There you go. What about you, Mr. Producer? Merc. All right, so that's 2 Mercs. I'll take the Aston Martin. I just like the look of it more. See, nobody wants to take the Porsche. The Porsche, that's because it's...
No.
Yeah. In fact, that Porsche's probably going to handle better than both the other cars, but they do. The front looks like a frog. Yeah. All right,
There we go.
So you get to call this one. Welcome back, of course, to IndyCar Racing here at Eddie Store Racing.
There we go. And things are about to get on popping here once again from Belle Isle. There goes Burrell right into that first corner. Rolling start here in round number 4 of the IndyCar Series, brought to you by Anti-Stall Racing right now. And things are already starting to file out right now. The drivers are trying to conquer this course. We already see Kevin going down that long stretch down into the corners right here. This is where you have to brake all the way down, shift down, and then get right back into the corner. But Big O's no separation so far. Kevin's just checking out like he was doing in that Q session and in the practice session.
Getting that runaway, of course, so that's what he needs to get. Further back, of course, there was a little bit of action, a couple of exchanges, but there it is. Actually, speaking of which, there's Leon making his way up past Alex Richardson, I think it is. So the Aussie getting used to this one. Some of the drivers starting to use their push to passes at the moment. Only 1 or 2 that have 10 available total for the race, but so far so good. Everybody is behaving themselves. That's what you'd like to see at the start of a race. Couple little moments, couple little overtakes. Here's another opportunity. We're looking at a crash here from Kevin Stam. And that's one of the Old Dog Racing team right there. Now I'm seeing a few more crashes coming in as well too. So Mr. Director's going to be busy. He just locked up the brake. So that's okay. Didn't damage the car. Seeing Mark and Julian have crashed. This is Julian. Mark's behind Julian there. So maybe Julian's lost it. Mark seems to be a little bit too far back to be able to get in contact. Julian got contact here with the other car. There it is. So Julian's probably... No. Ooh. There it is. Both cars snapped the brakes by themselves into that corner. That's what it was. And they both went around. Julian did it by himself, and then so did Mark in the background went it by himself.
And I think that's right around those corners that I was speaking about, where you're coming off another long straight, and then you have to basically go into a winding area of corners, 4 straight corners to wind around. Yeah, you couldn't get on the brakes after that long straight.
Couldn't get into the ball. That's a best steering. I'll have a 1 free repair to get done, and let's have a look at the Dan. And the inside is actually Liam. That's going to be bold and brave there, because once again, these walls take no prisoners if you go too far up. We've seen some people snatching some brakes already. That was a synchronized spin before from 2 of the drivers, and the Italian driver right now is really trying to hold off a super quick Australian driver of Liam Kerr.
See right there, just another big battle heading down that stretch.
And Haken as well too. He's putting some pressure on Paulo Lopez. He might have to go up to that one battle there, right on cue. So there is our Norwegian driver of Haken, Grebstad. So these are the couple of battles that are brewing.
We spoke about that to start off this broadcast here, Biggles. He really needs to start stacking up those consistent results. He's going to struggle down the stretch here, falling down the table from after winning that first race of the season.
He's got to hold off. Who is he's trying to hold off at the moment? That's Paulo Lopez. Yeah, of course he's, and then done. I think the other Italian driver another Italian driver. Yep, it's just behind them, a little bit further down the road, but getting all confused. He's the one that has to hold off Liam Kerr. A couple more crashes, I think, have been reported. It might be some tank slappers into the wall. Gonna have plenty of them. 2 drivers are in the pit lane at the moment getting some repairs. That's Mark and Robin. They are the 2 that had those spins earlier. Well, once again, I think, here we go. There's another overtake opportunity. Not yet. Paulo Lopez is still holding him off. We do know for a fact that the Portuguese driver can make that car very, very wide and make it very difficult to overtake. Of course, these drivers are, in the top 10 of our time sheets. Of course, in the top 10 of the championships. With standings. I'm really rusty today. And also our French driver, Benitez, is starting to coil into Kevin as well. So using probably no push to passes, but he is. And here we go. Liam still can't sit up the inside there. Going to compromise his speed coming out of the corner too, so he doesn't hit the fence.
But I've been watching the lap times of Danelio right in front of him here. His lap times are not very good right there. He's actually off the pace by about a full second there, Biggle. So watch out here for Liam to overtake Danelio here because he's losing speed around this racetrack. He slipped all the way down to the 6th position after starting about 3rd. So watch out here tonight.
Ooh. De Haken had to send that one Pereira up the inside. He did. And he finally got it done on Paulo Lopez. But that was, very, very late dive. Very lucky. Could manage to stop the car rather than hit the wall. But that's how you get an overtake done. Stefan Hoffman back here at the moment, battling it out with Matteo. It's just up the road there. Fast battle for P12. And Bonita's still just inside that area. He set the fastest lap just a couple of laps before that, but try to catch up to Kevin. I think Mark's had another crash. Of course, as his first debut to iRacing, and just getting used to that car.
Yeah, it's a tricky car indeed, especially at this track. We've already seen the veteran drivers here in this series struggle with that, having to downshift and hit those brakes so fast because you're going to have that thing almost redlining or on those stretches where you have to downshift and brake going into that corner. It's a tricky maneuver for a lot of these drivers already in this race here, Biggles. We're watching a big pass right here on this long stretch. We'll see if you can overtake down in this corner, but watch now. They're going to almost break it all the way down to a stop to get around that 90 degree.
That's 31 car. That's Julian. Stefan Hoffman. Further up the field there, of course, is Liam Kerr still trying to chase down the old dog Danilo. Piazza. Danilo? Danilo. There you go. So there's the multiple battles that are occurring. Julian now, go back to Julian and Matteo. That's getting very, very spicy. Bang, right on cue. Actually, there was. Got to go side by side still.
Whoa!
Oh, there's your big crash there. That's Stefan Hoffman. And
we have a little bit of an entanglement there on those tricky corners. Now we're racing once again.
Got to get a tow back to the pit lane on that one. See if we can get a replay.
See right there, Biggles. They're just battling it out down in the corner.
It's Matteo and Julian.
Yeah.
And just in the background, I think, was Stefan, who comes off better on this one, obviously, because they came together. Let's have a look.
Julian tries to the inside.
Does he get it stopped in time? That's the thing.
Oh, that bump.
They come together here. There. That's a difficult one for the stewards, of course. We'll get the report up. Because it looked like, it looked like, who was it? Was it Julian was turning in to go back onto the racing line? But Matteo was right there side by side. So you couldn't quite see who was ahead and who wasn't.
Yeah, it looked like Julian hit that rumble strip. It was a little bit loose there in that car. But then Matteo was there on the outside. It just looked like Matteo didn't know where Julian was on the track. Maybe tried to, I don't know, block a little bit. I tried to squeeze him a little bit, and they made contact. Just looked like it was kind of like a 50-50 there.
Yeah, ooh, that's a big lockup going in the corner. I wonder if Arctic, Van Boss gets a little bit of any damage at all on that, but certainly got the position overtaken, I think. Julian, yeah, that's Stuart, so we'll see that report will come up soon, no doubt. It'll be under investigation. It hasn't come up saying under investigation, but I'm pretty sure it will definitely be under investigation. There it is. Right on cue. That's the two drivers, of course, the 31, which is Julian, and the 43, which is Matteo. So, yeah. I mean, they're obviously they're going to be looking at a lot of stuff as well, because there's other things. Andy-Tatman's crashed, I think, now. But that. And Andy Tateman, sorry. Or Tatman. Maybe he's tapped the wall. Sorry, Andy. Oh, the wall's tapped you.
And we have like a battle between Liam and Danelio right there as well. Almost identical on the racetrack. If you look at their times, they're almost right next to each other, battling it out for that spot. Danelio's trying to hold on to that position. His lap times are getting slower and slower as this race is ticking down.
But how good does that put? Yeah, he's pushing it, but I mean, because remember, he just got past Paulo before. That was Paulo Lopez, and that was a push. He had to send that car through there and got it done. You can see where Paulo, how much of his time he's gained now on Paulo. Mm-hmm. And then now he wants P2. Well, sorry. Yeah, he wants P3, my apologies. And he's pushing like mad to do it. You can see he's much, much quicker. But he's got to try to pull off that same overtake he did. Will it work, but will the Italian driver be as easy? Oh, sorry, not as easy. Although that wasn't easy, but really try to do it in the same place is going to be the key.
Yeah, Håkon's done a great job of climbing through the grid here so far here tonight. But looking at the top of the grid right now, Kevin keeps pushing that lead to about a second and a half. It closes down just a little bit, but then he's able to push it back out there. But good on Benoit keeping up there in the second spot, because then you have a separation of about 5 seconds down into third.
That's going to come down to that pit stop strategy or something, maybe. Remember, you can see the push to passes. They're not using them as much as they did on Long Beach. Because we are 8 of 50 laps into this. Now, I remember Long Beach last week. See, now I told you I was going to start remembering things eventually. But I do. Well, there was about a lot of the drivers had used over half of their push to passes before halfway through the race. So they were very eager using them at the start. This time around, they've seemed to most of drivers have saved them, apart from Liam, of course. It's still probably using a couple more push to passes just to try to get past Piazza, Dan, as Haken Grebstad's trying desperately to get past the other Italian. I think Alec van der Bos had a crash as well there, Mr. Director, before. He's in the pit lane getting a lot of repairs done. Mark's in the pit lane for about 5 minutes. What's happened here? Just going slow? Oh, that's right. We're in slow motion replay.
And you see right there, just trying to get around those corners.
Just come out, hit the tank slapper on the wall there? No? Must be this one around.
Trying to see. No mistakes so far.
There it is. Loses the rear. Can he hold the drift? Oh!
Ooh, style points.
Yeah! It almost gonna hit the wall there. Oh, you almost got our drift award, my friend. If you would have held that one, that would have been fantastic.
That's it. Little style points there on the racetrack, but still back on the racetrack right now. Denario is trying to hold onto that spot here at the top, or the second position right now. Of course, Kevin's checking out with that lead here so far. He loves to see this, loves to get that over the radio that these guys are battling out behind him, so he can just worry about his race and nobody behind him. But still, is Håkon trying to get around him right there. And you see right here on the racetrack, trying to overtake. I believe this is for a battle for the third spot right here. Just trying to overtake, just can't get it done just yet, but he's still right on that tail.
All you can smell is the exhaust fumes coming out of that car right now as the thunderstorm's coming down here in the local afternoon thunderstorm that I'm going to have here in Panama. I kind of thought that I'd bring all that weather to Japan. Let's have a look. Still can't do anything. So, I mean, Harkin's just got a basic bite his time. He's used another push to pass. It's down to 8. Gotta see about that pit stop strategy, perhaps. He is, sorry, the Italian driver is on the primaries, whereas the other drivers, the other 2 drivers up there, Kevin and Benit, are on the alternatives to the quicker tire. And I'm not sure how much the difference is between the tires. We need to actually probably ask those drivers that next time we get them for a chat. How much of a time difference? Or if anybody does know that in chat, that you get between the actives and the primaries, alternatives and primaries. I think it would just be easier to call them soft and mediums or hards or something like they do in Formula 1, but yeah, do it differently in Indy. One thing that you're sure about is that they're Firestones.
Oh, yeah,
see if anybody knows that trivia. When's the last time Firestone's been a tire sponsor of Formula 1? You know?
It's been a minute.
Huh?
I said it's been a while there.
Since Firestone was in Formula 1?
I think so.
I don't think that. I'm not quite sure if they've actually been in Formula 1 now. Julian's gone into the pit lane. Is that a scheduled stop or not? No, he's had a crash too. Julian's had a crash. If you want to show that one, 2 race directors having a few moments there today, and he might still be a slap of a penalty yet. We don't know. That nothing's come back from any race control information about that. Let's have a look at. Yeah, he's gone straight into the wall there. Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Ooh,
I think that's Aiden Young there too. That, yeah, can we keep that wheel attached? So lap 12 of 50. The Aussie driver still tucked up there behind the Italian driver, behind the Portuguese driver, Apolio, and P5. You know he's Portuguese because you can see his livery a mile away. Is Stefan Hoffman, the German driver. Now, Stefan Hoffman hasn't been... I mean, he was in the Formula One season, series we had last season. And he had some quiet pace. You can see that he's probably still trying to get adjusted to these Indy cars. I expect to see the Germans going to get a little bit more pace.
Corner of that, there, Biggles, right behind those two cars we were watching. We had another car slide into the wall right behind.
That's Liam Kerr, actually. I think Liam Kerr has crashed. So my Australian driver is he's in the pit lane. Look. I don't want to see that. No, I'm going to close my eye. You can play it, and I'll close my eyes.
And you see him coming right there. He's been racing good all day long, and just another corner claims another victim right there. Tries to hit those brakes just too late, and that car gets from behind him, coming right into that corner, coming off that long straight once again.
Yeah. That's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if you'd done that a split second earlier, you would have used the runoff area. Mm-hmm. And that one around, it's just like, do I turn? Do I don't? Not. And of course, there's no time when you're approaching that corner at 60k an hour, or maybe 100k an hour almost. I don't know. You can't have an indecisive decision around a street circuit like that. You got to just commit. It's a fully send into the wall or skip past it. Is that Sylvia?
You see right here, is this the same corner that claims another victim? It does look like it's the same corner there coming down. Yeah, you come off with so much speed. Yeah, that's coming off that's coming 6 to 7.
That's why we need to be sitting right now with the microphones in hand. And that way too, we'll have the actual boom sound in the background because you'll hear the car into the barrier.
Right there. That's where it comes off, because you come off another long straight after 4 and 5 are almost like a slight 90-degree angle there. You come running around 6, and then 6 is just basically like a long straight. You have a little bit of a curve to that straight, but not much at all. You can make that thing go wide out there, but then you have to hit down into 7. You have to brake, downshift, and then you go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's basically like a roundabout of turns right there down into 12. So a tricky part of the racetrack right there.
Is Liam, the anti-stall racing team. And this is down the DRS straight, of course, without the DRS. You can see at the background, that's Kevin, isn't it? Kevin's teammate, same livery, of course, as Kevin, but I'm getting a lap down. No, he's not lapped yet, but he's just moving out of the way. Yeah, they're the leaders. Because there goes Kevin. And there goes Bonito, and so he's just slowed down just to let him past. I think that's all that was. Yeah, just did the right thing. Didn't want to get in the way.
Good move right there.
Yeah, lap down already. Look at this. So you go where Stefan is. It's been lapped as well. And you can see that's the blue on the timing table there. That means they've been lapped cars. So already... the lapping cars on 15, and I kind of said that at the start of the qualifying, that if you look at that top 10, they were all close by about a second, and then you had the second pack of the field. So it is not different classes like a GT3s and LMPs and stuff like that. So they're all the same, but just different levels of drivers, of course, on this track, because some of the other drivers accelerate or do very well, obviously, in the oval tracks, but better than they do on the road tracks.
And Biggles, as we're on lap 15 here of 50, of course, you just mentioned a few drivers are getting lapped already. Is it wise to kind of play this game that a lot of these drivers are playing here, where you kind of find your position on the racetrack, you find your spot on the grid, and you kind of just linger? We're not seeing a lot of passes. We're not seeing a lot of overtakes just yet here. A lot of almost moves, but nothing really pressing the issue just yet. Is that a good strategy here, or do you want to start moving yourself up the grid just a little bit more like Håkan? Håkan has worked up the grid up to about 4th position, but now we've seen him settle right behind Denario there, right in the 3rd spot. Do you want to kind of climb up there and catch Kevin? Because if Kevin can run in this clean air throughout this race, he's not going to have much competition there at the top.
I think it's a good question. You're 16 and 50, so you still got a lot of racing to go here. You still got your pit stops to do. And you've got fuel saving you could be doing as well. So, I see they're both tanks lapped the wall a little bit and they came out of the corner. Not both, but a lot of drivers have been doing it. You got to I think Liam Kerr's had another crash as well. You've got to, yeah, it's difficult because they are still. Yeah, Kevin's only at 1.5 seconds. They're still hovering at that 1.5 seconds. So Kevin's not really getting that far away, where you would think that, okay, I do need to get an overtake done so he doesn't run away. So they're still comfortable because, of course, you can win and lose these races in a pit stop, no problems. Once you get clear air too. We know he's got the pace. So if I mean, if Harkin does come out in clean air and put some fast laps in, he may very well, get a job done in an undercut or an overcut. That's probably what they're thinking of more right now. Sizing up your opponent, seeing they're going to make a mistake. Still early days. Yep, this is an incident that's been run a report. I think it's Liam Kerr, yes, because I saw something here. He's coming out of the pit lane. Now, is this traffic coming out of the pit lane, or has he cooked it coming out of the pit lane? Because the tires will still be cold. There's a car moving out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be it. Is that Aiden up the road? The 31 car. That's Julian.
And look at Liam Kerr here.
Yeah. I got you. All right. Oh, everyone's still hitting the wall a little bit there. So this is but once again, so it's that pressure, isn't it? You got to chase the drivers down. Sometimes we've been through this before. If you're chasing a car, that means the car that's up the road is mounted with this pressure. They got to check their mirrors all the time and see where you are, and that actually puts them into a more of an increased chance of mistakes. Because if they glance at their mirrors for a second and they take their eyes off their braking point, and then bang, they're on the wall. So maybe Harkin's just happy to sit there at the moment and try to pressure the Italian into a mistake, and then capitalize on it. And you can see right now they're still down it's about 1 second almost now for Kevin leading this race. So should be sitting there. Could be once again saving fuel a little bit. Means he'll be able to go maybe run a little bit deeper. Kevin has, yeah. Because remember that was a 1.5 second gap, Will, and now it's down. So almost 0.8. Andy Tapman's had a crash as well somewhere on the track.
Now, could this be along what you were just talking about there, Biggles, where he could be saving that race car? We're going to have to go down pit road here at some point throughout this race. Could it be just an opportunity of him saving his race car? Because right now he doesn't have really much competition at the top of that grid. A lot of these guys are going to come pushing up there to that top. But we're taking a look right now at Andy Tapman right here, seeing what happened to him. Sideways there. He was already sliding down into that corner.
He had to loud pedal, and the car disagreed. So that incident before 30, 31, and 16, that's another instance. That's that's Julian, and who was car number 16? That's Liam Kerr, that one before, so that's no further investigation. That was the one where they were side by side, remember? Earlier. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know who really had the advantage or not, and obviously they've decided in race control that it's fair play. Just a racing incident.
You're starting to feel, I'm starting to feel up here in the booth with you here, Biggles. I'm starting to feel the anxiousness, the intensity kind of build here on the track. We were kind of going just a kind of calm, cool, and collected, sailing around Belle Isle, taking in the sights. But now I'm starting to see a little bit more action picking up right now. You saw Benoit really pick up the speed a little bit more. You see this battle ensuing right here on the track as well. You're starting to feel a little bit more anxiety, a little bit more anxiousness of these drivers.
Might be picking up at the moment, knowing there's going to be boxing soon. And remember, he's got his teammate. Now, his teammate's down in P6. You know that they're definitely communicating. They're definitely on the team radio together. Both of them are in both of them, of course. One's behind a car in traffic, and one's ahead. So if one of the drivers go in, they might very much give them an indication of the time it's going to take to come in. How's the car going to feel when you come out on the tires? They both started on, believe it or not, and they've also started both on the primary tire as well, where everybody else around them is on the alternative. So that's another thing.
He is right.
But I expect one of them might come in soon, and then it'll give the indication for the other one. But I don't know. It just looks like Biazza is trying to get the overtake done from Paulo Lopez.
Oh, he is right on the tail of Paulo right here. Just the smallest, slightest mistake from Paulo. He's going to overtake. He is right there.
He's using a push to pass as well, too. This could be an opportunity. Absolutely. He's going to have to fully send one on the inside here now. Trust in your brakes. And he does. Gets it done.
Nice pass. Beautiful pass there on the 90-degree.
You could see the traction difference when he was following Paulo Lopez. That's probably now an indication right now, 20 or 50, that are we starting to see the traction fall off the cliff there for the alternative tires? Because he just looked much more confident going through those corners. We know Paulo Lopez is no slouch. This is another indication too of what's going to happen, because when again, Harkin is on the alternative tire,
right?
And Delero, these names, man, I'll never get them right. Delero is on the primary. So Paulo Lopez has got the position back, but if we can go back to that, Paulo Lopez has stole that one back immediately from the Italian. Let's have a replay of what happened. Yeah, there it is. So the Italians cooked a little bit too much coming out of the corner there. Paulo says, I'll take that one back. Thank you.
See, that's exactly what I was talking about there. The slightest little mistake, if you're leading that guy behind you there, you make the slightest mistake, it's going to open that door, because right now we're so tight on the racetrack. We watched this for a few laps where these guys just really sat behind the driver in front of them, and now we're creeping up to that halfway mark here. The drivers are now wanting to push the pass buttons here, get those overtakes done here on the racetrack. But then again, Biggles, you can overtake all you want, but that guy's still going to be right behind you. You make the smallest mistake, they're going to take it from you. Once again, as we watch Håkon right here, is going to try to overtake right here. He's going for right now, I believe this is a spot for third position on the racetrack.
Yeah, not sure. He's not using a push to pass. And then Leo's got passed by Paulo. He used a push to pass. So that's, once again, they're going for it. We'll get a replay of that in a second. So, yeah. Portugal versus Italy. Back at it.
Right here. You see if Paulo makes that mistake we were talking about. Nope, they're just going to go side by side down into that corner once again.
He used to push the pass just before that, so that's what gave him that speed advantage. And Paulo Lopez has got into the pit lane, so this is probably the first that we're going to start seeing of those pit stops. Will this undercut pay off? And he's got to come out in clear air too, hopefully, because you look at that track map. There's a lot of cars out there to try to navigate your way around. You don't want to come stuck out in traffic when you want to try to undercut.
Ooh. And one thing, if we could ride back on board with Håkon there just for a second as he's trying to overtake. One thing I wanted to point out, Biggles, is the wheel movement. You see his hands on that steering wheel. This track is so bumpy, but then again, you have to try to keep pace with the car in front of you. You see those hands constantly moving on that wheel, whether it's the racetrack surface or him trying to maneuver that thing around. He is constantly moving that thing. Look at the hand movement, the bounciness of this racetrack. This is just a ride from Håkon, never mind the guys that are in the top or trying to overtake for positions. You see that constant movement of the wheel. So this is...
That's
Mark. Perfect time to go on board.
That's Mark that's just crashed, and luckily it wasn't in the way. Mark still having a lot of fun there learning. Here we go. This could be the opportunity. Has it thrown off? No, he's going to settle there behind. You're right. And depends on how much of your fancy racing rig you have too. Because if you have a very nice, expensive racing rig where you're feeling that force feed in your hands, I'll tell you what, your hands are going to start getting sore by the end of this race for sure. You'll be tired and be sweaty. Julian's had a crash as well, I believe. So we know Mark just had a crash. You saw that the results of that, but that's probably not so much to show. But Julian crashing is another one we probably have to have a look at. Pit lanes, of course. Kevin's gone into the pit lane. We also saw Aiden Young go in. And let's have a look at what the Dutch driver has done here. It was a bit lonely out on track. There's Paulo Lopez in the background. So I wonder if it has hindered Paulo Lopez.
Same corner there.
Yeah. I wonder, because we got Paulo Lopez. So luckily, I don't think it caught Paulo because Paulo Lopez, remember, took that pit stop and has come back out in P6. So he's the first one to take that gamble from the top 10 drivers or so. There he goes. Benito's going in the pit lane now. This is where you're going to start seeing those alternative tires go in. I expect the primary drivers will go a little bit further.
You're going to see a bit reshuffle of the grid as well. Some of those guys that have been leading this race here are going to get shuffled around some of those other drivers that pit earlier in the race. So a little bit of a reshuffle of the names at the top. But still, it's Kevin leading the way here right now. Hasn't had any competition since the drop of the green flag here at Belle Isle. But one thing I wanted to mention as well, Biggles, you know, at a track like this, you're doing a lot of downshifting. You know, you're going to go 6th gear on those long straights. You're going to downshift, then you're going to downshift through these corners. A lot of the other tracks that we go to, a lot of the other road courses, you can really shift. You don't really hit 6th gear a lot of the times. You're shifting up to 4, shifting down into 3, a lot of upshift, downshift. Here at a track like this, you can let this thing go wide out, and then you have to really get on the gears on some of these corners. So it's almost a different take of a race course for these drivers here tonight. That's probably why we're seeing on that particular corner, a lot of those drivers have that mistake because they're not used to getting up to 6 and having to downshift all the way back down to 2.
Very technical about that. You might hear the rain in the background because it's bucketing down rain, so I've got to mute myself a little bit so you don't hear the rain in the background. Kevin's had a crash here. Kevin Stam. I just saw that it's not here. It's got to probably be into our famous corner, of course, coming up in a minute. That's where he probably might have gone a little bit too deep.
Yeah, he's riding that thing already wide out on the entry of that corner, and you see him coming around that corner right there. He keeps it clean, just barely. And
once you make it through there, it's the exit speed on that one. Yeah, but I think it's not going to hit the fence there. It should be okay.
It's going to lose some time there on the
He didn't go on the pit lane. Julian's in the pit lane of those massive repairs there. Sylvia is in the pit lane. So now the top 4 have yet to box. Both the Italians, Kevin leading the race, and Hakan Grebstad. So in the Hakan Grebstad and Kevin are on the alternative tyres. So they going to be thinking about it. Keep an eye on this drive, of course. He's taken. Bonita's taking his pit stop. And he currently, at the moment, if we're looking at, I'm trying to see how much time he is down the road there from our race leader. Well, give or take, that's about, what, do your math on that? 9 plus 7 plus 4. Whoa, no! And there's a speeder that's got nowhere to go, of course.
Oh, no, that is disastrous.
Yeah, and he's trying like crazy to put some hot laps in here because the top 3 have gone in the pit lane right now.
Right there, he keeps it clean.
Top 4, everybody in the pit. So this is his opportunity to get a jump on everybody, and unfortunately, he just got some damage. So, just an unfortunate victim, and this is probably costing his chance of getting a podium here now.
You see, heading down to the corner.
Yeah, he's on the racing line flat out, nowhere to go.
No.
Bang.
Man, and
the other driver has
that car was there.
Yeah, the other driver has DoorDash on the side of the sponsor on the side, so that one's got a bit of a DoorDash moment.
I believe.
But yeah, what do you do too? Because if you spun there, I mean, the thing is, you generally should wait, right? But the problem is right on the racing line, so you kind of like have to get off the racing line as quickly as possible. But it's difficult because, yeah, you never really. You're supposed to really stay still, aren't you? If you have a moment, so that you. Because when you move, cars are trying to go around you, and of course they hit you because you're moving. So I don't know what the rules and regulations are. You'll find them, of course, in the Discord.
Oof! And you now see Benoit trying to hold that position. You see a warning up on the top of the screen right now. What may have occurred there, and for Benoit, because I wanted to ask you too, would he have had any kind of indication or knowledge that car was sideways or stopped on the racetrack there, or is he coming into that corner blind?
If you. No, he would have seen it, but it's too much speed. It's carrying speed into the corner. You're not going to stop it in time. If you have a spotter, maybe you might have had a little bit of reaction time. That's obviously if somebody's spotting you and is watching those cars up the road and stuff like that and giving you that information. But still, even with that, it's a split second reaction, and once again, it's on the racing line where that accident is. So he would have had to stop that car a lot earlier to try to get on the inside, and that means that to do that, you would have had to be at least 1 or 2 seconds earlier in your braking to know that, and that spin happened only a few seconds just before that. So I'd have to say probably even with a spotter or something, probably couldn't have avoided that.
Yeah,
but he's still in P3. So that probably, I think that might have cost him a possible P2, because as everybody's come back out, Kevin's still leading this race. But what's more important is that the Italian driver is in P2 now. I'm just trying to see what happened before the pit stops, of course, because of the action.
And he's currently our points leader that has been Benoit there in that 759 machine. So even with that little bit of a mistake right there, a podium finish here is still going to carry that points lead.
Oh, he's gone into the pit lane. He's got. I think he's got damage. Our French driver, because he lost the front wing damage. He got front wing damage, of course, in that moment before. So I think he's gone in the pit lane because he's had to fix it. So it's very, very unfortunate there for our championship leader, then, isn't it? Because he's going to lose some more places. Yeah. Sorry, race producer. Be able to make it to the end. Yeah. Okay. So we don't know if it's going to be a 2-stop or a 3-stop, but he's coming. Give it a shot. Yep.
Hey, and Biggles, as we're watching this thing hit with about 20 laps to go, one thing that I just now noticed 30 laps into this race, we're missing Feig right there, another German racer in this race here tonight. I'm not sure why he may have been missing this race here, but he's been consistent all season as well, coming in 3rd position in that points table coming into this race, a driver that we've called out a lot here during this season. They have just taken one for the team here tonight, but we are missing another German driver here tonight.
I'm sure you're right, but I think Benoit's had another crash. Unless the crash is the reason why he went in the pit lane, if we can have a look at that. Did he crash? He's crashed out of the pit lane. Oh no, this is the classic. You get tire temperature up there. Is he hit the gas pedal somewhere around here and spun? No. Things are just going worse and worse and worse for the 759 French driver at the moment. Hopefully he doesn't crash coming straight out of yeah. Oh yes it is. Bang. Oh, and it was just in the pit lane. And now he's used up a fast repair. He's going to have to go back in. I don't think he did get... He's going to stick with it, maybe. And the car might be drivable enough, but... He's going to be a lap down.
I think at this point, if you can just cross that finish line, that 759, you just chalk it up for a bad day and you head to the oval next week.
All right, so I have to depart you guys. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. And enjoy the rest of the race. I'll watch it back later on. Another 20 or so laps to go, but thank you very much. See you guys later.
Appreciate it, Biggles. There we go. Me and our wonderful producer here at Anti-Style Racing will take over the rest of the call here tonight. But right now, Gerald, it's still Kevin up at the top of the grid. Hasn't had much competition there at the top. Just really just coasting around this track. You know, we saw a few drivers kind of cut down the lap times just a little bit at the top, but now we're back up to about 5-6 second lead.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's really catchable at this rate, unless he does something really, really dumb. I think he's just going to fly away with this one.
Yeah, we saw it in practice. We saw it in the Q session as well. He looked like the untouchable race car here on the racetrack. But right now, a little bit of a reshuffle of that grid. You know, we have Denario up there in the 2nd spot. Holcon again in 3rd. Denalio in the 4th spot. And Paulo right there in 5th. You know, right there, we have Kevin Stom and Alec Richardson right outside of the top 5 here. But as you just mentioned, Gerald, you know, with these laps counting down with only about 20 laps to go, no mistakes so far on the racetrack. It looks like Kevin's going to do a little home cooking here tonight. American winning an American racetrack here. And then heading into the oval race next week, next Monday night here in Anti-Style Racing. Can really open the door for a few people to move up that points table. And the oval racing's a whole different ball game. We've seen it here when we hit Texas Motor Speedway. You know, it really gives these drivers a loop. We had a lot of cautions there.
Yeah, it's everybody was quite worried that we'd get some nasty cautions on this one as well. But I think in general the track's a little bit wider and the corner exits aren't quite as brutal as they were back last week at Long Beach.
Yeah, and as Biggles mentioned, you know, you have Kevin still on those primaries, you have Holcon still on those primary tires as well. Alex Richardson still on primaries, Aiden Young still on those primaries, and Leon still on primary tires right now as well. and you're not seeing much of a time difference right now. You know, Kevin's still the fastest car on the racetrack with those set of primaries. We'll see here with these laps counting down if it makes any difference of those tires. And we just spoke about how he is checking out with this race here. Taking a look at one of the Italian drivers here tonight. They're still having another great run. Has 2 cars inside the top 5 once again this week.
So everyone on track currently is getting further apart, according to my timesheets. Everybody's sort of settled into their positions a little bit. So what we're waiting for now is someone to make a mistake, essentially.
Essentially there, Gerard, and we saw it in the beginning of stages of this race as well. A lot of the drivers got comfortable, and they started to overtake the guy in front of them. We saw a lot of tail racing, if you will, for lack of a better term. Kind of guys just chilling right behind the guy in front of them and then overtaking. But right now, with those pit stops out of the way, those boxing, if you will, it's kind of opened this race up. A lot of these drivers are racing by themselves around this racetrack. A lot of big gaps between one another. Of course, Kevin has a 3-second lead on second. Then there's another 3-second gap between second and third. Then you have about about 2 seconds between third and fourth. And then 5 seconds between fourth and fifth. So a lot of these drivers are just having basically like a practice session by themselves. Take a look here at our race leader, Kevin Burrell, right up here at the top. Said no competition, as mentioned. Nobody's really put any pressure on him. It's really just his own sense of pressure at the top of this grid. He had no pressure in qualifying, no pressure in practice either. He actually tried to better his time, almost like what we saw Håkon do the first road course race that we had here at Anti-Stall Racing. You know, Håkon started on the grid. He was the fastest car in practice, fastest car on the racetrack. We're seeing the same thing out of Kevin here tonight as well. No let up in that machine here. Just really hitting his corners perfect. We saw those gaps just close just a little bit, almost less than a second, about 10 laps or so ago. But then he really gets back onto the gas pedal. He almost saved that race car, I think, before he headed down pit road. And then once he did, that car just opened up for him now, Gerard, and he's just hitting those corners perfect. No mistakes at all. I don't even think I've seen him brush a wall yet here tonight. I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him just yet. But he's just seeming to... Oh, he almost did right there. Got a little sideways. Let that tail wiggle.
Yeah, that was a close one. I think he will have... I think he's going to chill out a bit after that one. Although it still seems like he's driving rather relaxed. It doesn't seem like he's pushing too hard at all. But yeah, that little squiggle did loosen some time there. So Doriano, just behind him, has cut the time a little bit there.
Just in the slightest of margins, almost, I'd say about 1/100th of a second. Went down from about 3 seconds down to 2.9. So not the largest amount of loss of speed there. Now it's going down about 2.8. But really, Denalio is really the only driver that can catch Kevin right now on the racetrack. He's about 3 seconds off the pace of Kevin. After that, Håkon's about 7 seconds off the pace. So counting down these laps here, these last little bits of laps here at Belle Isle. It's been a great race here so far. It's really kind of been the Kevin show here, but other than that, the positions behind him, a lot of these drivers are trying to pace themselves around this track. So this tricky long stretch is eating up a lot of the competition right there. Not Kevin, though, as you see him just coast around those corners.
We've got something brewing here. Something definitely brewing here.
Brewing here there, Gerald.
As this is Benoit, he's going to have to make his way back up through the rest of the grid. And we know, he's fast enough to be in the top. Oh, big crash just happened. We're going to go take a look at that as he just got a... Oh, there it is. Beautiful overtake. We're going to go look at that. Let's have what happened. I think it's in our famous corner. The usual famous corner. These incidents happening. I think 2 other cars were involved as well.
And we spoke about Mark to start this race off. He's just trying to get used to this race car.
There it is.
Yeah, he just whips that tail from behind him.
That's Kevin Stam and Robin as well, just there behind. And there was the overtake.
You saw the overtake happen right there as well, but you saw Mark wisely get out of that racing line there. So starting to learn a little bit of the rules here in the IndyCar racing. I'm sure he knows that from racing the Formula One cars as well. We spoke about how here tonight, it's his first time in these Indy cars, so really trying to get a hang of these cars. It's really not having a good night, but a good learning session nonetheless there for Mark in that race car. But looking at Benoit right there, trying to increase his position on the grid. We saw those couple mistakes that we saw from him just a couple laps ago, got entangled, and then basically got tangled down pit road as well. But now just trying to climb up the grid. Of course, he's our points leader right now heading into this race. Has a little bit of a cushion at the top of the table as well. So really just trying to finish here tonight and then go oval racing at Indy.
Andy Chapman just had an incident.
You look at
Curb,
Andy
maybe?
right
No.
here.
And it's the next corner yet again.
Yeah. Heading down this long stretch. And you have to break it down right there. Yeah, it's that's a key corner right there. Our points leader, though, he's really trying to increase his spot. You know, he's really got the speed back on that race car. He might run out of laps to do so here tonight, Gerald, but what a way of staying composed in that car, knowing that you've made a few mistakes here tonight. It's not going to be a race to win, but still, you can finish pretty good. Maybe increase it by 1 or 2 positions before the end of this here. But that's a good indication of our points leader of knowing how much each race counts there towards the end.
Well, looking at our P1 position right now, he's lost 1.2 seconds in the past few laps and is still losing time. So something's going on. Either his tyres are dying, which I didn't really think they should be right now because he pitted on lap 25. So they might be sort of near the last quarter of their life at least, maybe.
Yeah, with about 13 laps to go, that is a huge breaking news right there, because that is plenty of laps to catch the leaders right there with 13 laps to go here tonight. We'll take a look here at that second place car, and you see right there, he's racing on those alternative tires. And maybe we are seeing a little bit of a difference here, Gerald, between the alternatives and primaries, because he has alternative tires on this car, and Kevin still has those primary sets on there. We spoke about a bit earlier in the broadcast of what the difference was between the 2 sets of tires, but now we're starting to see a clear difference as that lead, as mentioned, is now cut down to almost a full second here on the racetrack.
Yeah, I did notice early in the race that the alternatives, once they're sort of worn in, once there's a temperature, they seem to be better. They seem to be much, much quicker, at least by a 1/10 per lap.
You see right here, we're riding on board with our second place driver right here. And you see he's got Kevin in his sights. He's not too far away right now. You know, before Kevin was starting to check out with this thing, pushing that lead to about 3 seconds, but now Denario is right there trying to make a move, just trying to keep his laps clean, crispy, trying to keep it right in sight there as Kevin's starting to pull away just a little bit there. But as we mentioned, Gerald, it just takes the slightest mistake from Kevin. We saw it a few laps ago. He made that tail wiggle just a little bit and lost about 1/100th of a second. He does the same mistake here. Denario is going to be right on that back tail.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do they have to pit again? Because fuel-wise, they'll be absolutely fine. They pitted past halfway through the race, which means their fuel will be fine till the end. It's whether the tyres can hang on now, really. And we know that this particular track is very, very rough. All the corners have heavy braking zones, and the ones that don't are very fast. So it's a high tyre wear track, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to hang on until the end. I'm wondering if we're going to see Kevin or Doriano try and dive into the pits pretty soon.
Yeah, Doriano has an opportunity right here. And my question to you, Gerald, do you stick with the leader? So if you see the leader heading down pit road or any indications the leader's going to head down pit road, do you pit with him or do you stay out and push this thing to the end?
Well, theoretically, with Doriano being on the alternatives, those tyres will not last as long as the primaries. Because it is a softer compound. So I'd be very worried if I saw Kevin pit right now and I was choosing to stay out. If you're in the car, you can feel what your tyres are doing, and if you feel like you need to pit, I'd rather do it sort of now, earlier, where you have 10 laps to get it all back again, and I hope that he also pits, rather than wait for it.
And with 10 laps to go here, we are in for quite a finish. We thought it was going to be the Kevin Burrell show there at the top, but Del Reno is trying to make a pass there, trying to get there. He is eating that lap time up like Pac-Man right now, though. It was about 3 seconds a couple laps ago. We're taking a look at Stefan right here, Holman. And you see it's another coming off of that corner. He's going to keep it clean right there, Gerald. And we'll see heading around these other banking corners. And you see it's right down there. Is that the other corner is going to eat another victim there? Maybe.
He just goes straight.
Oh, he doesn't hit the wall this time. That's surprising.
Oh, now P1's got some bat markers now. This is where it could get really interesting. Look, he's already lost 2/10 because of the bat marker. We're now within a second because the bat marker's holding up around corners.
There.
But it does get out of the way. Theoretically should regain his time. Doriano managed to capitalise on that, bringing down another 2/10, 3/10 now.
Yeah, Doriano's going to have a chance before this thing is over. He's going to have a shot at the lead. Whether or not he's able to overtake and overcome Kevin there at the top is yet to be seen, but I do foresee an opportunity here coming here in the next couple of laps. We are going to have a battle for the lead. I do presume right here into this corner, seeing as though if everything stays clean, all these drivers don't make any mistakes, it'll be a battle for the lead here at the end.
And there's another bat marker now, just a second ahead of Kevin, which is the other Kevin, who's the bat marker. So again, we might see that at first Kevin Birrell might speed up a bit due to the toe. But then he'll get closer, and if he gets closer at the beginning of that corner complex, he's going to lose time yet again. So it depends where we hit these next set of bat markers to whether Doriano can capitalise on it or not.
Ooh,
well, I was very slow that time.
See right down there into these corners. Heading around to the last stretch right here. This is quite the battle we're seeing, but not as much hand movement as we saw with Håkon in that race car. He's just really trying to coast this thing around. He's trying to pounce on his opportunity here to close this thing out. We're counting down the laps here, though. We've got about 8 laps to go here in this race from Belle Isle. Been the Kevin show here at the top. He's had no competition yet up until this point right here. He's going to know that he's coming right behind him there, Gerald.
Yeah, I think Doriano's tyres are dying. I've seen him having to correct a couple of times there. So I'm predicting, I think his tyres might be going off. It is interesting what you say, though, about the hand movement. Doriano's definitely running a higher amount of dampening on his force feedback, which means that not as many shocks are coming through, as opposed to Håkon just behind, who is feeling every last bump of this track.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with you, too. I am starting to see those tires give out just a little bit. Starting to see him slide around a lot of these corners now. Before, he was a lot more technical, a lot more pinpoint on these corners. Now he's starting to see him just slide a little
Kevin.
bit. Oh, watch out! Oh, man. That could have been disastrous right there, especially with these older tires on this race car. But that is going to slow him down a lot, having to avoid that. Yeah,
so Doriano lost over a second there because of that. So... Again, talking about that bat markers, they were dictating what's going to happen here. I don't think they're going to pit now. He's got 7 laps left. I don't think they're going to pit. But Doriano is starting to understeer. If you look how much his front tyres are sliding and how much he's having to how much steering angle he's having to put into it. You'll see on some of the tighter corners, his front tyres aren't pulling him around like they should be. Oh, there's a correction.
Whoa.
Yeah. And those of you with good hearing will have also heard his rear tyre sliding then as well.
Yeah, and you're starting to see him slide right there as well. And this is on the front stretch. You're starting to see that car just kind of slide around the track here. And you want that thing to stick. You want that thing to be pinpoint on these corners, even on the straights. And you see it right there as well. God, he's really fighting this car around the track now. And what that causes too, Gerald, is with those slick tires and you're starting to feel that car move from underneath you, you're really trying to fight it around, you can't get on the gas as much as you would like, because if you do, that thing's going to slide up from behind you, and that's going to be even more disastrous here. You're not going to get your podium finish, you're not going to get your second place finish, which is really going to help on that points table, but it's really something you have to be very gentle with as this race is ticking down, because the more laps you put on those tires, the slicker they're going to get, and the less you can get on that gas pedal.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it seems that he is... let's take with this. Yeah, he's just about matching pace. He's a couple of tenths slower on his last lap, but obviously we saw he did have that incident with the back marker of Kevin just ahead of him, who is now behind him. Paolo has pitted. That's curious. Just saw that there. Let's take a look at the time. Was it? So he's changed tyres, Paolo has. He's gone over to the primaries. And now he's leaving the pit lane again. So obviously there is a mandatory tyre change. You have to use both sets. But it's very odd to be changed into a primary this late in the session. You know, the alternative being the soft compound, the quicker compound. You would have thought that, you know, for the last now 5 laps, you could have just used a better compounded tyre. But obviously he might not have used it earlier.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the drivers that were running. There were only a few drivers that were still running the primaries there for a while. One of which was Kevin, still at the top of this grid right now, still on primary tires. See if he can hold on. But looking down the grid right now, we have Holcon down in 3rd. Alex Richardson in 4th right there. We just spoke about Paulo right there in the 5th spot. Kevin Stam in 6th. Aiden Young in 7th. Benoit has worked his way up into the 8th spot right there. Stefan in 9th. And Denelio, the other Italians, down in the 10th spot right now. So not going to be the Italian finish that we're used to seeing here tonight, Gerald. But still, the Italians will have 2 cars inside the top 10 if everything holds. We're taking a look at Paulo right there. You see he's going to
Who just got the P4 slot because Alex hitted. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think this goes along the lines of what we're seeing out of our second place car right there, where that tire wear is starting to become a factor, starting to slide around this racetrack. And other than wrecking and losing all your positions on the racetrack, it's almost more wise to head down pit road, get a fresh set of tires on that car to make sure you finish this race on the grid position that you want to, instead of finishing all the way at the bottom of the grid there. What we see right there, he's still fighting this car. We're taking an onboard ride with the... How do you say it there, Gerald? You say it perfectly.
Doriano.
Doriano. There we go. I got it. Doriano. Now, Doriano's right there. He's just sliding around the track, trying to keep pace with Kevin, but he can't find that pace to even make an opportunity for himself to get around him for that top spot. But again, with these slick tires here and having to fight it around, you know, I'd be almost happy with finishing second here tonight. It's not it's not what you want. You want to win races, but still, the way he's having to slide this car around the track, a second place finish would be good nonetheless.
Yeah, these guys are not gonna pit. They can't pit. You know. Dorian, both of them would lose positions if they pitted now, and they would not get them back in 3 laps. Ooh. That curb nearly ended his race then.
Yeah, Yeah, like I said, he is just fighting this thing around. He is basically on ice skates right now. He is sliding around this track here at Belle Isle. And you see right there coming off, he has to get back on the gas, but very, very gently. You know, if he had fresh tires on there, he would be able to get right back on the gas pedal, let that thing fly. But right now, he's having to be very, very gentle on that gas pedal. Can't get on it too quickly. And you see right there, you know, coming off that corner, off that almost brushing the wall, you see him wanting to get on the gas. You see almost the momentum of the car wanting to go, but he knows that those tires are so slick that he can't get on it as quick as he wants to. And you see the speed, though. You see the speed out of Gerald right there. You know, you see the speed on the corners where he doesn't have to get on the gas. He just lets loose and kind of downshifts and get around those corners. That's where he makes up the most momentum for Kevin. But on these corners to where he has to really downshift, brake, and get back on the gas, that's where he's losing that time right there. And you see it right here on this long stretch. We'll go down into this 90 right here where he has to really get off the gas
slippery
and
as
get
well.
back on. Yeah, that's where you see Kevin really check out because he can't get on the gas pedal as quick as he wants to.
The gap's coming down. There's only 2 laps left. Dorian is pushing like a madman. Only a second between them now. This is insane that he's managed to pull this back again for the third time this race.
Yeah, at this point, you gotta let that thing fly right now. You know, you want to hold on to that second spot, but then again, you want to get this race victory. Then again, on the flip side of things, what an impressive performance it has been for Kevin Burrell at the top of this grid here. As mentioned a few times, he's had no competition up there at all. I think the closest anybody has been was less than a second. You see right now, Denorio is right there, about less than a second off the pace as well. And that's the closest anybody has come to Kevin at the top. Really no opportunities to even get around Kevin, to make a pass on Kevin, any of such things. There at the top was the fastest car in qualifying, fastest car in practice, now fastest car on the track. And I think, Gerald, if I'm not mistaken, if he wins this race and holds on, he'll go wire to wire here tonight at Belle Isle.
Let's take a quick look. Yes, so Doriano will take... Will he take... Yeah, he should take P1 in the standings. Even if he stays here, I believe.
Yeah, with 2 laps to go, you know, we spoke about that, how he's sliding around this track. You know, he probably wants to be more aggressive there, Gerald, but knowing that aspect of things, to where with this finish here tonight, he'll overtake for that top spot in the table. It's a lot to race for, even finishing second. And this is a battle with 2 laps to go. Coming down. Ooh, and you saw him really have to get on the brakes there as well as slow that race car way down. Now he's right back on it here. Gonna ride on board here with this machine to see. It's a great aspect. You get to see Kevin right in front of him there at the top. We have 1 lap to go here from Belle Isle. This is round number 4 of the Indycar Racing Series, brought to you by Anti-Stall Racing. And here tonight, it has been the Kevin Burrell show there at the top of the grid. You see right there, we have Denorio right there trying to make an effort to get up to him, but still with a second place finish here tonight. It'll be a great run nonetheless. And also, Jared, looking past our second place driver right here, Holcon. I know I spoke about that to start off this broadcast. He really needs to start stacking up consistent results to get his spot back up on the table. And tonight, if everything holds, he'll finish third. A podium finish for Holcon here tonight.
Should be coming down.
You just take a look.
Yeah, the final straight in a second. No, sorry, that's... Yeah, so last lap now. White flag has been flown.
Yeah, it's the last lap for Kevin right now, just zipping around the track. Said no worries at all, singing Bob Marley inside that race car here tonight. Because don't worry, just be happy, as it looks like Kevin Burrell is going to be our race winner here tonight at Belle Isle.
Yeah, part of me was really hoping that Doriano would catch up to him, just so we see a bit of a fight for the end. But no, Kevin's absolutely dominated. It's been an incredible race for Kevin. He dominated practice, he dominated qualifying. It's been absolutely insane.
Absolutely insane indeed, the way that he was able to master this track here tonight. Basically put on a teaching lesson for everybody watching here live on Anti-Stall Racing. Just the way you race this course. You didn't see him have any problems with those 90 degrees. You didn't see him have any problems with those other corners that other drivers were having problems with as well, going down to 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. We saw a lot of the other drivers have issues on. No issues at all out of Kevin. Pitch strategy was implemented perfectly as well. Just a great race overall. And then we head to the Indy Oval next week. So another American course there. We'll see if Kevin can continue that momentum on. His name's not really in the mix of the points table right now, Gerald, but if he could start stacking up those finishes, he can really put himself in the mix as well. Yeah, sounds good. And we're taking a look at those race results right now, the official results here at the Anti-Stall Racing Indycar Racing League. Here, got a little tongue twisted there. This is round number 4 of the official results. And looking at those official results, of course, we spoke about the dominance of Kevin up there. Takes the home cooking win here tonight by about 2 seconds. Looking past him, Denorio is going to finish in the second spot right there. We saw how he was able to maintain that race car even on those older tires. Holcon comes home third. Holcon's back to his podium finishes here in the IndyCar Racing League. Of course, he won our first race of the season. Paulo Lopes is going to come home in the 4th spot. Good job by Paulo of working that car up through the grid. Alex Richardson is going to finish in 5th. Kevin Stam in 6th position. Aiden Young, another American driver there, is going to finish in 7th. Benoit, we saw the issues that he had there towards the end of the race. Got entangled a few times there. He's going to come home 8th. Stefan Holman is going to finish in 9th. Andy Tatman right there. We saw him have some issues as well here, but still a solid 10th position finish for him. Robin Dumel is going to finish in 11th. Silvio is going to finish in 12th. Denalio, another Italian driver, is going to slide to about the 13th position there. Not a finish that we're used to seeing out of those Italians, but right there he's going to finish in 13th. Not his night here tonight at Belle Isle. Leon's going to finish in 14th position. Mateo in the 15th. And to round out our finishing grid here, of course, we spoke about Mark's first time in his Indy cars. Good on Mark for finishing things out here tonight. Kind of fought it around the track here at Belle Isle, but a good finish for him down there in the 16th position. And then Julian's going to finish in 17th. And of course, Liam Kerr in the 18th spot right there at the bottom of our grid. And tonight at Belle Isle, it was the Kevin Burrell show. And we'll see right there towards, and then we have Alec Boss right there at the bottom of the grid, the 19th spot. No pace car here. We didn't get to see that Porsche take the course here at Belle Isle once again, but still a great race nonetheless. It seemed as though the one corner just seemed to eat up those drivers there coming off that long straight down to that 90 degree. A lot of those drivers just couldn't downshift or brake quick enough to get around that corner. But I believe it is almost time to speak with our top 3 finishers here tonight. We'll get those interviewees ready to rock and roll here. Speaking with those drivers, speaking with those top 3. And I believe, Gerald, are you ready to take our 3rd place finisher?
Yeah, I'm just going to track him down now. So yeah, here in the chat we've got Hakon, who finished 3rd place today. How was it for you, man?
Oh man, exhausting out there.
Yeah, we actually rode on board with you for a little while and saw how much your wheel was moving. It seems like it was absolutely mad in terms of how rough the road was there.
Yeah, it was definitely giving me a beating. My arms are not feeling great after that.
Yeah, we actually compared you to a few of the others, and it appeared that your wheel was moving the most. I think a lot of other big guys had the dampening turned on for this one.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I should have worked on this setup a little bit more. I was definitely bouncing in a lot of corners.
Yeah, so we didn't really see much of you on stream. You seem to have a pretty chill race, to be honest. Was there any moments that stood out for you?
Well, probably the start, figuring out if you could do 25 laps on the tank or not, and I figured I'd try and make it, and didn't quite do a good enough job in the first stint, which lost me out quite a bit, sadly.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out if it could go on a single stop for these guys, because like obviously the top two only did a single stop, I believe.
I only did a stop too, but yeah.
Yeah. How were the tyres by the end? Because we noticed that Doriano in front of you was sliding around like anything by the end.
I was on primaries at the end, and they were fine. The same with the alternates, but I wasn't obviously pushing very hard in braking zones and stuff, saving fuel.
That's fair enough. Congrats on your P3 finish there. So we're going to Indianapolis Oval next week. Are you excited for that one?
Well, seeing how the last oval race went, I just hope we finish with more than 6 cars on the track.
Yeah, I think Indianapolis is a lot more forgiving than the last one. The last one was Texas, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So Texas has those awkward corner exits that are not forgiving in the slightest. Whereas I think Indianapolis, you've got quite a wide road. You have to slow down a bit more for the corners. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, oval's not really my thing, but I don't know. I struggled a lot last time. I think my setup was a bit wrong because as soon as I got in dirty air, I just had no downforce. It was just
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, a fantastic job today. Well done on the P3, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Cheers.
Okay, Will, so I'm going to grab someone else now. Let's have a look who's waiting. We can get Doriano next.
Yeah, Doriano finished second here tonight. We saw him holding on to that race car here. Those tires really got slick there towards the end. Take us through your race here tonight and how you're able to hold on to that second place finish.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yes. Speak slowly, please, because my English is very poor. Repeat
okay.
the answer. Yes.
How were you able to hold on to that second place finish with the car kind of getting away from you there at the end?
I don't understand very well, but my race is still hard because the first stint I have a black tire, and it's so hard from Grabstrad, very hard for my pace. The second stint good. I close from Kevin the time, but okay, good for me to second position.
Amazing. Yeah. We saw you catching him towards the end, and we were really excited to think that.
Yes.
We were really excited to think we might see a battle at the end as well. But obviously, unfortunately, a back marker got in the way and sort of dashed all of that.
Yes, but I don't have any power. I don't have any tire. No fight with Kevin.
Yeah,
only
of course.
Only close.
So
it's okay.
Next week is Indianapolis. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, okay. Next week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your P2, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
As we have you in the booth here, I know English is not your first language. Is there anything that you'd like to say in Italian for anybody that might be watching you here tonight?
Okay. Allora, grazie ragazzi.
Fantastic.
There we go. Great race.
Goodbye.
Okay, and now I'm gonna get the man himself, the guy that's named this race today as the Kevin Show. And it is the Kevin Show man himself right here, right now. Fantastic race, Kevin. That was rather insane.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Hopefully my mic's sounding okay.
Yeah, sounds fine to us.
Cool. Yeah. Oh man, that was just really intense.
Yeah, I mean, well, thing is, we were sat here and we were watching you. It's like, okay, he seems a bit chilled out right now.
Yeah, well, that was like, I mean, I've obviously run this in IIS and Indy Open before, but it's never come down to a like extreme fuel saver race, and I didn't really know if the fuel saver was going to be the way to go today because I did some testing last night with, the 1-stop versus the 2-stop, but with like roughly like a 29 second loss.
Yeah.
And the alts just being faster the whole way through, it was like, well, it can't really be slower to go with the 1-stop, and track position is important, doubly so like if there was any non-zero chance of a caution being called in the first stint. And I mean, it's Belle Isle, so like, if you're going to have them at all, it's like a near 100% chance. I guess not. So,
yeah.
But,
we were very surprised that there was no safety cars.
Yeah, but, so that would have made it like a no question, 1-stop. But in the end, I was like, look, it's the lowest stress way to go. And I didn't want to try and like really push the car almost into the wall every lap,
Yeah.
And I thought, well, fuel save is the way to go. And I guess it was. But man, I thought it was a decent gap with like 8 seconds to Doriano or whatever at the pit stop. And then like it just clearly wasn't, and I was kicking myself too because like I realized I'd saved enough for like 25.7 laps. And I mean, my plan was 25, which is okay. That works. But if I'd just been able to get that 26 in the first stint, like I basically would have barely even had to save in the second stint, and it would have been so fast. But Doriano and Hakon did, really good job there, holding on. And I mean, I was happy obviously with the way qual went, but did not quite translate in the race, but still nonetheless, I mean, I'm obviously super glad. Anytime you run here and you don't send it flying into the wall, sometimes even repeatedly, I think it's a good race. So I'm just happy to get to the finish line, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. So talking about fuel saving a little bit, were you using the fuel saving engine modes?
Yeah, I was pretty heavily in map 3 a lot of time, and also doing some clutch and coasting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I've got that nice healthy button clutch, really good realistic iRacing technique there. But I think lift and coast is pretty close here, but I'm just at this point it's out of habit. Clutch and coast a little more effective when you're actually in people's slip, but yeah, I mean it was tight, and my setup, at least for today, was ridiculously low to the ground. I was actually worried about hitting the somewhat infamous landmine on the front straight right before, well, I guess it's not turn 1, but the right-hander after the pit exit.
Yeah, we saw.
There's a big hole.
We saw two guys.
Landmine.
Saw two guys get taken out on that one. Yeah. And I did actually pick up on that as well. I noticed you were keeping quite wide away from some of the bigger curbs.
Yeah, there's this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just that's something I picked up in running this in IAS last season, was that it seemed like the best way to run the car here is to basically just slam it into the ground and have it be bottoming out all the time and make really healthy, fun noises while you're racing. But
brilliant.
It seems like somehow that may have become even less of an issue with the new damage model. But man, I mean, it's a really fun track to drive, but it's also just like a total nightmare every single race. So I'm very glad to be able to. I think fuel saving, and it's a tough thing too, is you fuel save, and it's good to fuel save, but this track just can't heat up the tires. So that's the tricky thing. It's like in qual, your second lap, is usually quite a bit faster than your first, and in a stint, I was finding that on the primaries, actually, it's like if you don't push and you're just lifting and coasting into a lot of corners, if you brake too gently or you don't push the exits, sometimes you can't even get the primaries to like heat up enough to like be good. It's
Yeah,
really
of course.
rare that happens in iRacing with this car. You know, it's really rare. I mean, that's just so uncommon with this car, but it can happen here, I guess. And yeah, I mean, maybe that hurt a little bit too, but in the end, it managed to work out barely. So I'm happy enough with that.
Yeah, sounds good. So one last question for me, and it's my usual question, is that we're going over to Indy Oval next week. Are you looking forward to that one?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see. I actually am still trying to figure out decent setup for new Indy Oval, new shiny new Indy Oval. It's I'm always looking forward to that track in this car, but you know, it's just Indy Oval can go so many ways, and you know, that it's just, I would say I'm looking forward to it, but are my hopes high personally for myself? I don't know, but I need to get in shape on that soon anyway, because you know, Open Wheels 500 is coming up soon, and Indy Official is going there in not too long in Indy Open, so it's time for me to get off my ass and start really dialing in, you know, a good cue and good race set for that track. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it to some extent. Open Oval sets have been like a bit of a struggle for me, but I feel like last season actually in IIS with Iowa, that was when I started, like, Iowa and Gateway, I started having a bit of a breakthrough of like, okay, I can finally start putting together okay oval sets. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens this time. I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Well, yeah, we look forward to seeing you there, and a huge congratulations on the P1 as well.
Yeah, thanks, and of course, you know, huge congrats to Doriano and Hakan as well. The pace was, you know, I mean, the reality is, I think with the pace that both of them had today, they would have probably, you know, won or gotten on the podium in an official, you know, IIS race last season here too. So, I mean, that's really fast, man. You know, it was. I'm glad I was as fast as I was, but man, the pressure was really, really on in the final stint. So it was a good race today, really good race.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, and we will definitely see you next time.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one. Cheers.
All right, Will, do you want to wrap this up for us?
Sure. As mentioned, we just spoke with our top 3 finishers there. It was the Kevin Burrell show, but it was interesting to hear from him there, Gerald, that he was actually anxious and nervous throughout tonight's race, although it looked like he was calm, cool, and collected throughout. He was actually really kind of sweating in that Indycar here tonight, but nonetheless, he was able to come home with the race victory here tonight. We had great finishes by Holcon up there as well. We had Donario finish in second spot there. We're going to make sure we break out the Google Translate next time that we speak with him, and that's okay because we are an international racing league here in the Anti-Stall Racing IndyCar Series. But for myself, William, for my wonderful guy behind the decks, and my co-host for half the night here, Gerald, and my other co-host here tonight, Biggles, I'm going to wish everybody a great rest of your night, and we'll see you back here Monday night at 7 p.m. UK time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for us here in the States. But for everybody here at Anti-Stall Racing, have a great night. Once again, congratulations to Kevin Burrell, our winner here at Belle Isle. We'll see you once again here on Anti-Stall Racing.